Hello. Welcome to the Screenshot channel. Today we are going to talk about the 2010 release movie Prince of Persia. Historically in the Persian Empire in the 6th century. After showing courage in the marketplace, he is adopted by the king. 15 years later, Dastan and his royal-blooded foster brothers Garsev and Tus lead the Persian army in an attack on the sacred city of Alamet, under the assumption that the city's people are selling weapons to their enemies, as shown by Nizam, the king's brother and advisor. As Garsev leads the initial assault, Dastan decides to lead a surprise attack with his friend Bis against the orders of his brother. He manages to open the eastern gate of Alamet and prevents further casualties. During the fight in the city, Dastan defeats one of Princess Tamina's guards who was in the possession of the mythical Dagger of Time. The dagger gives its owner the ability to go back in time for a short period so that the user can try to correct any mistake or redo any moment. Alamet falls to the Persians. Tamina is captured and is offered as a wife for Tus, which would make the city of Alamet a part of the Persian Empire. The Persians celebrate their victory, but during the celebration Prince Dastan is fooled into presenting a poisoned gown seemingly given to him by Tus to King Shahriman, which fatally burns the king. Prince Dastan is held as the perpetrator of his father's murder. He escapes the castle with Princess Tamina while Bis, his best friend, is killed trying to save them. Together, they embark on a journey. The prince wants to prove his innocence, while Tamina wants to safeguard the Dagger of Time. On the first night, Tamina attempts to kill the prince and recover the dagger, but Dastan accidentally activates the dagger and learns about its ability to rewind time for 1 minute and in doing so, prevents Tamina from attacking. Dastan believes that Tus knew about the dagger and framed Dastan for their father's murder in an attempt to seize the throne and the dagger, thus becoming the most powerful ruler of Persia. During their journey, the duo meets a group of merchant bandits in the Valley of Slaves, including entrepreneur and ostrich racing organizer Sheikh Ammar with his friend Sesso, who hails from the Nagbaka, masters of the throwing knives. Dastan offers Tamina up as a slave in return for their hospitality. However, the bandits try to take the Dagger of Time and take Dastan to the newly crowned Tus because of the reward for his capture. They fail in the process, while the two escape. Dastan and Tamina return to Persia for King Shahriman's funeral. Dastan tries to convince his uncle Nizam that he was not the cause of his father's death, only to discover the dagger was taken by Tamina. Instead, he notices the burns on Nizam's hands, which indicate he was the one who set up the murder of the king. Furthermore, Nizam has set up an ambush for Dastan along the Persian streets, and after a conflict with his brother Garsev, Dastan escapes. Meanwhile, back in Persia, Nizam, aware that Dastan knows he was responsible, tries to convince the newly crowned King Tus and Garsev that Dastan is trying to overthrow them and must be killed without a trial to avoid a rebellion. When this fails, Nizam hires the Hassansins, a group of highly skilled warriors who once served as hired killers for Persian royalty. Dastan catches up with Tamina and explains that the villainous brother of the king, Nizam, was behind it all. This way, Nizam would go back in time before he had saved Shahriman from being attacked by a lion and undo the act, hence ensure that he becomes the king of Persia. However, Tamina reveals that the sand glass is the vessel holding the sands of time, which the gods conjured to punish humanity for its sins. A pure-hearted girl, offering her life, convinced them to seal the sands. Should the Dagger of Time be used to pierce the sand glass, the sands would be released and destroy the entire world. The pair then put aside their differences and agree to work together to protect the dagger. Dastan and Tamina are again captured by Sheikh Ammar, Sesso, and their group because of the chaos they caused back at the valley. Sheikh intends to claim the reward for turning them in to renew his business. But that night, when everyone is asleep, the Hassansin leader attacks the group in an oasis by controlling a number of vipers. Many of the group die, but Dastan uses the dagger to rewind time, and, foreseeing the attack, manages to kill all the snakes single-handedly, saving Sesso in the process. The next day, the pair, now accompanied by Sheikh and Sesso, travel to the secret sanctuary in the mountains near India, where it's possible to seal the dagger by returning it to the stone where it came from. In order to do so, Tamina would have to sacrifice herself, but it fails as they run into Garsev's men. Dastan, however, manages to persuade his brother that he is innocent, only for Garcev to be killed by a flurry of spike knives thrown by a Hassanson. The Hassanin attack, killing many of the group, while their leader manages to snatch the dagger of time from Tamina by using a trained snake. However, Dastan is saved from the last Hassanson by Garcev, who then succumbs to his injuries. Tamina and Dastan, as well as Sheikh Amar and Sesso, return to Alamet to reveal the truth about Nizam and the dagger to Tus. First, they must get the dagger, which is kept in the sacred temple, guarded by the Hassanson who killed Garcev. Sesso, the master of throwing knives, fights the spike-wielding Hassanson to obtain the dagger. He manages to kill the Hassanson after a well-aimed throw, yet is fatally wounded in the process. Sesso manages to throw the dagger out of the window to Sheikh and Dastan before dying. Sheikh Amar then distracts the guards by serving as a decoy while Dastan shows the truth about the dagger to his brother Tus by killing himself, only to have Tus rewind time with the dagger. Afterward, Tus is killed by Nizam, and Dastan is incapacitated by another Hassanson. The dagger is once again in Nizam's hands, but Dastan manages to defeat the Hassanson with Tamina's help. She realizes that the Hassanson had been a spy inside the city of Alamet and must have been the one who told Nizam about the dagger. Nizam goes to the sandglass caves beneath Alamet, as Dastan and Tamina race to stop him. Tamina opens a secret gate leading to the chamber, allowing them to take a short cut to the sandglass. En route, they encounter the leader of the Hassansons. However, after a close fight, Dastan gets the upper hand and stabs the Hassanson before throwing him into the chasm. Dastan and Tamina then kiss. They then manage to reach Nizam as he pierces the sandglass with the dagger. Nizam knocks Tamina over the edge of the chasm and Dastan desperately catches her hand. Knowing he cannot stop Nizam and save her, Tamina professes her love for Dastan and lets go, sacrificing herself to stop Nizam. Dastan fights Nizam as they both hold their hands on the dagger. Dastan then uses the dagger's button to open the Sands of Time container and use its power against Nizam. The sandglass slowly cracks and the sandstorm is shown destroying Alamet. Dastan is then able to use the dagger and turn back the time as the sandglass breaks, ending up at the point when he first held the dagger during the siege of Alamet. Dastan uses his knowledge to reveal Nizam's evil plan to his brothers, gaining their acceptance by revealing what Tus told him about the meeting with their father prior to the attack. Exposed, Nizam attempts to kill Dastan but ends up dying by Tus' blade. After apologizing for the ransacking of her city, Tus suggests that perhaps Tamina should become Dastan's wife as a sign of goodwill. The prince returns the dagger of time to her as a gift, as she looks at him surprised. The two of them are next shown talking to each other and Tamina expressing her surprise about Dastan's sudden change in behavior and hinting that he may have discovered something, to which he replies that they are in control of their own destiny.